Hey everyone, how's it going? Today I want to talk about how to make your seedlings tough so that they can survive when you transplant them out into the harsh environment of your garden. So today we're going to talk about how to make your plants hard, hardening off your seedlings. Hardening off your plants is a technique where you slowly transition your plants from being inside to being outside. At some point, you're going to have to transplant these seedlings outside. And it can be very hard on your seedlings to do that because they're used to being in an air-conditioned, air climate controlled environment. And so when you put them out into your garden, it can be quite a shock to them. It could even kill them. So you have to do something to sort of help them transition from living the cushy life inside your house to going out into the garden. Now there's different ways that you can harden off your seedlings. People will advise you all different kind of complicated ways of doing it. Start off by putting your plants out for like 1 hour and then do that for 3 days, and then for another 3 days put them out for 2 hours, and then slowly building it up. But to me, I'm not home during the day. I have to work, and most people I think do. And so that kind of labor intensive way of hardening off my plants is just not practical for me. So I'm going to show you what I do instead. Now you'll notice I don't have a whole lot of space for my seedlings. I've got a window and it has a 6-foot table in front of it, and I only have just enough grow lights to really cover 2 trays. And so I've got to deal with that in addition to how am I going to harden off my plants. And so what I do to help with the lack of space and the lack of light, and also in an attempt to get my plants hardened off, I very quickly start moving my plants out into the sunlight. And so as soon as they get tall enough and strong enough that I feel like that they're established enough that they can handle a little bit of stress, I begin to move them outside. So you'll notice on my seed tray here, I've got 2 trays. This first is some flowers that we've got growing, and I've still got some that are hopefully going to be germinating, so they're not ready to go outside yet. But you may notice these seedlings in the back. Those are ready, almost ready to go outside. Those are some peppers, and peppers are pretty sensitive to cold. So I'm kind of giving them a little bit of extra time. But along with that, we've got some watermelons over there that are probably ready to go outside. So those are going to be going outside very shortly. So what I do is I'm going to take, once these trays are ready, I'm just going to take them and move them off this table and move them out to my balcony. So I have a spot out on my balcony. You see it gets really good sun, and I've been moving these tomato plants out back and forth from the inside to the outside for about a month actually. They're actually growing really well. They need to be moved up into some larger pots. So I'm going to be doing that soon. I'm going to step them up into larger pots because I think they might be getting a little bit root bound. But I take this tray and outside and place it here in the sun. And I just leave it out in the sun pretty much the whole day until the sun goes down. And then I'll take them back inside and I'll set them on my table or on the counter. As long as it's going to be above 40 degrees and we're not expecting any kind of heavy rain, I'll go ahead and put these outside. And that accomplishes 2 things. One, they get plenty of light, and that helps them to grow really well. Number 2, it gets them used to being outside. Now here where I live in Cohutta, Georgia, in February and March, we get cold weather. I mean, even now it's the end of March, but we could possibly still get a freeze. So I don't want to just move these out into the garden, but I take them inside at night and outside during the day. I do the same thing with these watermelon here. And that way they get plenty of light, and they also get used to being outside where the temperature fluctuates a lot more and where the sun can actually be kind of harsh. Now, if we're talking about hardening off plants, what about hardening off ourselves? How can you make sure that you have the toughness you need to survive? And I'm not just talking about physical toughness. You know, the fact is, life can be hard. It can be mentally, emotionally, spiritually hard. We are going to face difficult times at some point or another in our life. And it doesn't matter who you are. We all go through crises. We go through tragedies. We have injuries. We have health problems. We have divorce. We have all kinds of problems that are going to come in our life. Every person's going to experience that in a different way, but there's one thing that we're all can be sure of, that we have in common. You're going to face a problem at some point in your life. And the question is going to be, are you going to have the mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual toughness to get you through it? Well, you have to prepare yourself. You know, as a pastor, I talk with people and pray with people and visit with people who are going through crises all the time. A loved one dies, they go through a divorce, their husband's in the hospital with a heart attack. You know, it's gonna happen, it's gonna come. And we pray together, and certainly going to the Lord in prayer is an important thing to do when you find yourself in a crisis. But what most people don't understand, that I've learned through my walk with Christ and also by dealing with people who are going through these difficult times. You really, if you want to be ready and if you want to have the strength you need to work ahead. You need to prepare yourself, because when you're going through a crisis and you fall on your knees and you go to the Lord in prayer, you don't want that to be the very first time you've ever gone to the Lord in prayer. You know, you need to be building up your spiritual muscles long time before the crisis comes. It's not that you know, it's not anything about that God doesn't want you to come to Him, you know, and He's going to be angry with you or upset with you because you never prayed to Him before, and then all of a sudden you've got a crisis and now you're there praying for Him. That's not what it's about. It's just simply that you've got to be doing the spiritual exercise before the problem comes, so that you build up your strength in your muscles, so you build up that relationship with God. He's always going to be there to listen to you and to help you. But if you've been doing the spiritual work months, years in advance, then you already have a reserve of spiritual energy and faith, and you have learned already to trust God in the good times, so that when the bad times come, you know He's going to be there for you. So that's what I want to give you as a word today. Don't wait until things go south and you are in a desperate situation and you desperately need God's help. Don't wait until that moment to start praying. Do it now. Prepare yourself in the good times so that you'll be ready when the bad times come. It's just like a harvest. You know, in the middle of the summertime, when all of your vegetables are coming in, that's when you gather in the harvest. And there seems like there's more than you'll ever be able to eat, right? More than you'll ever be able to use. But you know what's happening. Winter is coming. And in the wintertime, there's not going to be anything growing in the garden. So you got to take what you get from the garden, you got to put it up and save it for winter. The same is true in your spiritual life. So think about that, my friends. Make sure your plants are tough and ready for your garden. Make sure you're tough and ready for whatever hardships are going to come your way. Because I'll tell you, hardships will come. It's just a fact of life. But they don't have to destroy us. We can weather them and we can go through to the other side if we rely on the Lord and we prepare ahead of time. So let's get out there and let's grow and be fruitful.
Thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to become a thumb bud.